Yeah. So, I mean, I think these indices have really proved themselves. Over the COVID crisis, as I mentioned, they've done really well. And, one of my benchmarks I think about is, would I recommend one of these indices to my mother? And you know what? I would, because they have been around since the early 2000s. So they've got a 20-year track record. We've seen that they've done well over the great financial crisis, and they've done well over this COVID period. So for me, they've really been proven. They've done well, and I trust them. I mean, some of these methodologies are backed by academic principles. I mentioned that some of them use mean variance optimization. Well, that was invented by Harry Markowitz, who's a well-known academic. A lot of people have researched volatility, and that's they use proven academic principles. So for me, I think they've proved their worth, and I would trust them. And what I've I've always tried to adopt a fiduciary mindset. And one thing that I've was sort of formative lesson in my career was sometimes as a young analyst, one can think about a back test, and it's just a set of numbers. But I remember I got a call from a friend, and he wanted to talk about an index, and he worked in an asset manager, and I thought that he wanted to buy the index that I had designed. So I was quite excited. But it turned out it was actually for his mother. She had bought the index. And, that kind of hit me hard, because, real people are putting their money in these indices, and it was a friend's mother. So, even though when you're designing an index, there's no sort of technically no fiduciary rules, I've always tried to adopt a fiduciary mindset, because I want people to do well. And I've adopted a sort of fiduciary mindset at the index standard. And I think, there's other parts of the industry that need to try and adopt this fiduciary mindset, because if you create good product, whether it's an index or an annuity or an ETF, and people do well, they'll come back for more. So that's always the sort of stand that I've tried to strive for, is produce good product, and then you can do more business.